Papua New Guinea has among the worst healthcare standards in the world. Hundreds of women die in childbirth every year, and pediatric deaths run into tens of thousands. Most are preventable deaths. It's just a question of resources, education, and will. This is a story about what a country firefighter and his mates decided they could do about it. When he's not fighting fires, Stuart Krelsham is a trekking guide on the famous Kokora track in PNG.
1 in 20 women die in childbirth. 1 in 12 kids dies under the age of 5. I mean, these are just staggering numbers when you think about it.
I've been coming to PNG for the last 10 years and I had no idea this was occurring.
When you hear statistics like that, you just think, I've got to do something about this.
Stuart approached Peter Miller, founder of No Roads Expeditions. Together, they came up with a creative solution. The concept: invite people with medical training to donate their services free of charge. They've been queuing up to join. In April 2014, a No Roads to Health contingent returned to Papua New Guinea for the 4th time. The clinical team comprised of 3 doctors, 5 nurses, and 2 clinical support staff. Their mission: explore a new route to remote villages on the north coast. Trek into parts of the Owen Stanley Ranges rarely visited by tourists, where health needs are the highest. The work begins right away,
The idea is to get pretty much prepared
right here in
tonight.
Port Moresby.
This is the road to the 6 Mile Public Clinic in Port Moresby. This is where the majority of Papuans, especially in the Port Moresby area, access healthcare. How are you, fellas? That's a shot. I've got another team. Good morning. How are you? How are you? How are you? Today's antenatal day, which is right up our alley. It's fantastic. They'll be given a number, and without additional resources, I reckon they'll all be seen today.
We're in Papua New Guinea trying to support the local healthcare workers. The women in later stages of pregnancy will have their blood pressure and blood sugars done, and then we'll be just doing some examinations of their abdomen to check the baby. Women here with a high rate of malaria, a lot of women are anemic, which is a risk in pregnancy. We're really here to see what can be done to try and improve the healthcare here.
A huge number of Papuans have undiagnosed eye conditions. So, No Roads has partnered with local NGO PNG Eye Care.
I've worked with PNG Eye Care for 5 years now. We do a lot of rural and urban outreaches to other centers. Most people, they don't know about eye diseases and the problems with eye and the need for glasses. People think that they are blind without knowing that they need glasses to actually see well.
Difficult what they can do for some of the younger babies, like the premature babies who are in the special care nursery. But a lot of babies and kids here seem to be quite bright and happy, and they're probably getting the treatment they need, which most of the time with kids is rehydration, antibiotics and oxygen. So they're in the best place for it.
So how many obstetricians do you have working at the hospital?
At the moment we have about 2.
Okay, so two obstetricians and 25 deliveries a day. So that's a lot of work.
Yes, it's a lot of
Big workload.
Big work.
Today's the business end. It's about getting on the track. So off to Popondetta and then shuttle bus up to Boona on the coast of Papua New Guinea.
The team is scheduled to run a clinic at Boona Aid Post today. A nearby school has requested a visit from the team. In PNG, there are kids with health issues in almost every village.
So this little boy's had a complicated orthopaedic injury several years ago, and you can see that he's left with quite a significant deformity of his leg. He's able to walk on it, but if he's sort of running around a lot or playing a lot, then he asks to be carried after a while. Even though it's extremely deformed, young bones heal very well. He just needs to have a revision of that surgery, and unfortunately that costs money. So that's the main stumbling block. She had a motor vehicle accident 7 years ago, and she had some grafting done at the time, but the wound has remained open. It's extremely painful and it interferes with her sleep. She doesn't sleep very well. It would require fairly complicated plastics and orthopaedic surgery, and again the issue of cost comes into that.
Heading off to Boonah now. It should take a few hours, but it's a dry weather road only, and it has been raining. Over on the driver's side of the vehicle here, all squeezed up, all 6 of us. So we've been tossed around a little bit. It's all part of the adventure. You pay big money for this sort of stuff.
It's off to work we go. Today we meet Rodney, and he's the Community Healthcare Worker of the Year 2 years ago. Today's about giving him some exposure to some broader health training, and then he'll trek with us for the next 4 days.
This afternoon we are pleased to accept you, our colleagues who come in to help us in our need. So much thank you for coming.
Make you smile. It's hard. Lots of chronic problems. That you can't treat in one go, and you need to be here to see people again. And it sounds like Rodney's been doing a really great job. Medications are so limited. We haven't even got paracetamol today, which is the most basic painkiller. So very difficult.
I walked the Kokoda track with my brother for his birthday. We were moved by it and enjoyed it so much that I felt I had to come back and see some more of the country and do any little bit of help I can. Hopefully we can raise awareness and more people will become involved in these sorts of trips. I mean, it's just a great adventure.
He used to chew betel nut, but he's not chewing that anymore. There's a tumour in the oral cavity. We won't be able to do anything for the cancer except for a surgical fix, but he's not willing to do that because he would prefer to let God take care of the problem for him.
Are you married? I feel dirty and hot and I'm sticky, but it's probably more than I really had anticipated it would be. I feel absolutely, totally privileged to be a part of it.
Are we ready? Yes! Are we ready? Yes! What's the road? No road! What's the road? No road! What is your profession? Rock that road, ladies! Everyone's raring to go. This is what we've really been waiting for, to get on the track itself, to walk through the villages, to walk up the Old Stanley Ranges. 9 hours of hard trekking. This will really test everyone out.
Looks like this is camp. This is it for the night.
So this is where the porters stay. They get the luxury accommodation. They've got 5-star.
This morning, the team is planning a visit to Isaroba Memorial, a really significant place for Australians with a sense of history.
Whenever I walk into Isaroba, you can actually feel the Australians here. You can sense the ghosts. It's a place where you reflect. It's a place where you stop and think. and to hear a lot of the stories about what happened on this track. It all comes together here.
So now we've turned off the Kokoda track and we're heading towards one of the villages at Abawari, where we're going to do a health clinic tomorrow.
Really excited.
That's an adventure in itself. I really underestimated that climb. That was a really tough, difficult session. I mean, there was one flat bit for about 6 metres, I reckon, and the rest was just straight up. You know, they've got their Kokoda legs now. They've got into the rhythm, and they're coming in, they're recovering just like that. You know, there's Shez is playing with the kids over there. Alison's got a smile on her face. AJ's sitting down here having a bit of a chat. It's great. It's great.
The community healthcare worker at Abawari is Terry Ombora.
Yeah, I'm just telling them to come closer because the doctors are here already. They are there ready.
We're expecting people to come along shortly, but we thought we'd take the opportunity while we're waiting for them to just go through some of the medication.
So here, there's Stemetel, the prochlorperazine, but there's also some Maxilon, which is metoclopramide. That's also another good one for nausea and vomiting. I mean, crying, but alert and looking around and looking quite well. It'd be good to get a weight.
What's your name? We're weighing the children and getting their heights, collecting those stats for No Roads to collate. Hello, funny man.
The last morning in PNG, or in the Highlands anyway, and feel a bit sad. You know, you think to yourself, heading back to normal life, and the adventure will soon be over. But I know I'll be back.
Thanks for all your help. Well done for you too.
On a physical and a personal level, it's probably the hardest thing I've ever done.
You'd almost go and do it again to have that feeling again. Maybe not today, maybe tomorrow. It's amazing how quickly you can bond with a group of people when you share this kind of experience.
It was great, but it was challenging.
We were never going to be able to go in and change the world in 7 days we were here, but at least we could do enough to make a start.
I think people travel around the world. You could go to Africa, you could go to the Philippines, you could go anywhere in the world and be touched by people who live there and the needs and how they live their lives. And I came to Papua New Guinea.
Amazing group of people that we've been so lucky to share it with, and it's just, it's been an absolute privilege to spend time with them and go on the journey together.
At this stage, I really think I'm more in awe of the doctors that went on this trip and their hearts and their hearts talking to the people. They were magnificent. I got a lot out of that.
I was so happy. Every part of the experience I loved. I loved the medical side of it. I couldn't wait to see patients when we arrived somewhere. And travelling, you know, on dirt roads and getting bogged and river crossings and all of that. So there was not a single part of it that I didn't just love.